My name is Eric Freeland. I'm here for my Aviation 320 class with Liberty University in the fall term with Professor Clark. This is a flight scenario PowerPoint project that we had to work on. So here we go. In the scenario that we were given, the route that we were told that we were needed to take would have been to KMVV or KMMV to the UBG, then to Victor 495, then to CVO, then to ride along Victor 481 to EUG, then to Victor 23 OED to Victor through Victor 122, then to the LMT VOR, then to KLMT itself. Takeoff's going to be 6:30 local time, and it's estimated to take about an hour and 56 minutes to fly. Here you can see the route that I have set up that I found on SkyVector to take us from point A to point B. This is the same thing, just in a VFR, to where you can see towards the end of our flight, down towards the bottom, it gets kind of mountainous over there. So it's something to keep in mind later on as we go along. So we look at the weather at KMMV. The METAR in which you will be taking off from is going to be the one that's listed here, unless they have speci come out. But at the time it was 5:54 p.m. local. They're looking at winds from 050 to 5 knots, 7 statute miles visibility, few clouds at 2,000, overcast at 3,500 feet. The temperature is 7 degrees Celsius. Now altimeter setting is 30.40. So we know that at takeoff, this is going to be a VFR departure. While we're en route to KLMT, we're going to see a few things that kind of pop up that I went ahead and put in here that kind of wrote concerns for me. That we'll kind of see later on why they're concerns from me. The further along we go and the later it gets, the clouds tend to drop. As we look here at KHIO, it's just on the north end of our departure airport, and 30 minutes after the departure, according to their TAF, it's supposed to, overcast ceilings there are supposed to drop to 2,000 feet. Same thing with the rest of the clouds. And weather, as we go along, everything seems to get lower, and visibility gets lower as the flight progresses. For the pilot yourself, you're looking at about 1,600 total flight hours. About 534 of those are at night. We were told that basically the pilot flies every night flight under a VFR or IFR. Whether it's IMC or not. However, though, we were told that 25 of those total 534 hours are in actual IMC conditions. This is kind of where it gets into the big one for me. Look at his IFR currency as far as filing goes to actually fly it under an IFR flight plan. The way I took it was, being he had his last IMC was 8 months ago and only one approach to minimums with the instructor. To me, that means that he's more than likely outside of his IFR currency and needs to get recurrent with that. So to me, he's not going to be able to do an IFR flight plan for this, which he typically does on night flights. So he's already starting out in a VFR flight plan at night, which he's not normally used to doing, which is the first flag for me. Also, we start looking at his personal minimums. The big one is, he's looking at about 3,000 feet ceilings, 5 statute miles of visibility, and winds of 10 knots. So as we keep that in mind, you're looking at clouds are starting to drop to 3,000 and lower as the flight progresses. So that's kind of the tag along with the red flags that I've got. You're looking at the external pressures of why he's wanting to make this flight. He needs to get back to his hometown to go to his child's championship game the next day. So I kind of put it as, well, I understand the pressure of that, Even though it's VFR departure, and that you're okay to take off, it meets his minimums for the departure. The likelihood of you busting your minimums, that you need for your VFR night flight is going to be pretty substantial the further on the flight you go, thus making it hazardous to him as a pilot because he's not used to these minimums. He's skating along, between the ground and the bottom layer of clouds that he can't bust through because he's on VFR, not IFR anymore because he's no longer current. So all of those kind of come into play with, my decision on why this is not going to be a flight for him to make, which brings us to the go, no-go decision. For me, this is going to be a no-go. It's just too close to minimums on something that I'm not used to doing. While I am in VFR conditions on a normally flight night, not having the IFR flight plan and ATC separation and everything like that helping out, I just would not feel comfortable doing it. For me, the best outcome for him would be just to rent a car and drive back home, and then worry about getting the plane on a later date when weather conditions are more favorable to his minimums. So these are the sources that I used. Basically, is what I did is I just pulled the currency checks and everything on like how to test your minimums and things along that nature to help make my decision on this being a no go flight, which as I've stated turns out to be a no go for me. So, but that is it with my flight scenario. Thank you very much.